Here we go. So, all right. I want to take things in a bit of a different direction in today's video. Because I actually just started thinking about this, and I was like, this would be wonderful to make a video about, because it's just like, it kind of goes into this whole idea of perception, how we perceive things. And I thought about, I think it was Henry Ford's definition. Now that I'm thinking about this, this is going to be a really fun conversation to have with my sweetheart. Yeah, it's going to be great. Anyway, I think that I could I could talk for hours about this, and I'm sure that she'll have like really great insights to add. I'm not gonna get into all that stuff. Anyway, so yeah, this whole idea of um, Henry Ford's quote: "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Now, that, right? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Now, let's apply that to this idea of a friendly or a hostile universe, right? The world is not either or, right? It's not like it's just a fucking shit show out there and that's all there is, right? It's not like the world is just a hostile place and that's all there is, right? Whatever you believe to be true is what's true. And the way that I want to approach this is actually very interesting, because if you are in pursuit of something, right? If you're trying to create something, and the way that your mind has you seeing things, if the way that your mind has you seeing things is specifically in regards to, first and foremost, a hostile universe, that nobody wants to help you, that everyone is just angry and pissed, and it's lack and it's scarcity and this, that, and the other, you're going to approach things a very specific way based on that. And I was just thinking about this because I'm considering specific endeavors. I'm considering creating things specifically, none of which I'm going to get into in this video. But I'm looking at my own perceptions, my own belief systems regarding how the world works, right? And so, like I'm planning everything for myself. I'm looking at everything that I need to look at, and I'm also looking at my mind. I'm looking at my perception. Or my perceptions. I'm looking at my beliefs. I suppose beliefs and perceptions can kind of go into hand in hand, same thing. But I'm looking at these things, and I'm kind of like analyzing them. I'm like, how accurate is that? Like, is that even remotely close to being accurate? And again, this all goes back into belief systems. So it's really cool that I'm kind of like exploring this now, because I've been talking about belief systems for, a few days now. And it's just really interesting to like break things down and like question them, but also like okay, like belief systems, like is this actually true? Like say for instance, you're terrified that something's going to happen, right? You have this kind of like, I don't know, this feeling that things are about to fall the fuck apart, or that somebody's pissed at you, or that like, I don't know, like you want to do this, but people, you think that they're going to be this or that way about it. Like your perception creates the path. It dictates whether or not you're going to move forward with something. Because like say for instance, like if you have a belief that it's just a fucking shit show, that's going to bring you to that your desire, right? Your drive to pursue something that your mind is getting you to believe is going to be a shit show is going to be far less of a drive, right? Like it's going to be like minimized, right? Like it's going to be like, oh no, never mind, right? So whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, and you are right, because like all right, I don't think I can do it. I'm not confident about it. That's one way. Like fuck yeah, I can do it. Let's fucking like yeah, like that's two different ways. Again, the world is not this or that, right? Like, you can look at it and be like, okay, it's fucking terrifying out there. It's hostile, right? Or you can look at it and be like, oh, it's friendly. People want to help me, right? There are people out there that want to help me, that want to see me win, that need help and are looking for my help, right? And if you're to close yourself off to just thinking that this is a hostile universe, like, it's just not true. So, this also goes back into, exploring, or, exploring your belief systems, diving into them, deconstructing them, and looking at them for what they are, because, I don't know, you just might be projecting an idea of a perception of, like what you think something's going to be like, and you might think that it's going to be fucking awful, right? But that's your belief, right? And then you actually you do it, whatever it is, and then it turns out that it actually shows you that you were fucking wrong. You were just completely wrong, right? It shows you that what you thought it was going to be wasn't going to be at all. And it also kind of goes into this idea, and I like this idea a lot, because it's important to understand that, and I won't say that nothing is what it seems, but I will say that a lot of things are not what they seem. A lot of things are not, and that's because we project these ideas of what we think things are going to be like, and it ends up not amounting to that. It ends up not adding up to that. So, like, the world is, like, neutral, right? The world is neutral. The way that we experience the world is based on the way that we see ourselves, the way that we feel about ourselves. So, yeah, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's true. Yeah, if you think that you can, then you can. If you think that you can't, then you can't. That's just the way that it is. Whether or not you think the world is a hostile or friendly place, yeah, you're right. If you think that it's hostile, cool, you're right. If you think it's friendly, cool, you're right. It's important to recognize how manual this is. It's not black and white. It's entirely based on your belief systems, your thought processes, your thinking, your perceptions, all that stuff. That's just how this works. And I think it's very important to look at this, because if you can go in and challenge everything that you think to be true about yourself and the world, I don't know, maybe you were told that something's about to happen, right? And based on the energy that this person's giving you, you think that things are going to end up being a certain way, or a specific way, or this, that, and the other way. And they end up being completely different. Again, nothing is what it seems. I would argue that for a far majority of things, based on outdated perceptions and belief systems regarding things, that, yeah, things are not going to end up being as they seem. Because this, your entire psyche, your inner universe, has you set up for outdated shit. The world is not the same today as it was a decade, 2 decades ago. And many would argue that it's even fucking worse than it is. I would argue that it's even better than it was. I would argue that it's fucking far better than it was. Why? Because there are fucking, well, one, in general, there is a mass awakening happening. There are crazy insights being had every single day, and that is leading to the betterment of man. By the way, betterment doesn't mean that the world is going to look like a better place for you. It means that, okay, for instance, if this person didn't see their shit clearly 10 years ago, they do now. So it's important to look at things like that. It's not always about, this or that. I would argue that the world is a far better place today than it was decades ago. And I know that, a lot of people are going to, maybe be like, what the fuck are you talking? Yeah, no, I do. again, what I see as better is real. It's authenticity. It's you know, you could live in the comfort of a fucking lie, I guess. And I think that that's what a lot of people have been doing. There's been a lot of numbing happening over the past, I don't know, a long time now. And then when you unnumb and you face the fucking pain and you see things clearly, pain is just pain. But the reason that people experience life in terms of a hostile universe is because they're in pain. That's all. And then they project their pain out into the world, be like, oh, this fucking sucks. This must be what the world looks like. It's like, no, that's just what you're experiencing yourself as, and then you project that out onto the world. That's all that it is. It's not rocket science. It's not fucking, crazy shit. Like, that's just the way that it is. You don't experience the world the way the world is. You experience the world the way that you are. That's all there is to it.